So I want to have a few words about the revulsion that many people feel to church and to the Christian faith. And in many cases, it's a revulsion by proxy. It's a revulsion that's been brought about by representatives, usually self-appointed representatives of that church. And for whatever reason, and often sexuality, but for many other reasons as well, they've been made to feel like dirt by somebody. They've been made to feel a shame that is not their rightful burden by somebody who is representing the Christian faith. Now, the reason this is all the more important is because the Christian faith makes certain claims. Those claims are to love and compassion, they are to grace, and they are to the alleviation of the human burden of sin, not the exaggeration of the human burden of sin. And it's supposed to be an understanding, and I think amongst true Christians it really is, that we all labor under a burden of being, of comparing ourselves with the perfection we find in God and finding it very much wanting. So most of us will say, Lord Jesus Christ, Son of the living God, have mercy upon me, a sinner. That's a Jesus prayer, which is one of the most common Christian prayers. And it embodies an understanding that we are fallen, but we are pursuing something which is perfection, which is why church is much more like a hospital than a medical school. It's a place where people go who have a common vision of glory, but recognize themselves to be a long way from that. But that vision is open to them, that they can walk into it, that they can access it. And ideally that they will want everyone else to be accessing it as well. Now there's another version of your Christian who is somebody who believes that I am a good person, I am righteous, and it is come down to me to condemn anybody who I find egregious. Now, that's a simplistic way of putting it. What usually happens is that we condemn the things we dislike in ourselves, which is, the old story of the closet case who becomes a homophobe, or the person who is cheating on their wife and is unbelievably jealous of their wife and is trying to trip them up all the time because part of them is desperately hoping their wife is cheating on them as well so that they don't feel perpetually guilty for their transgressions. So, it's a complicated psychological reason as why some people behave so badly when they are surrounded by something that offers up to them a vision of perfection, when really it's something that should make us act in humility. It's something that should make us always be aware that we are works in progress and that there's no inherent thing in you or me which makes us any more or less prone to human failing and what the church has traditionally called sin. Sin means missing the mark, by the way. And we all miss the mark. So the idea of saying, oh, well, you're a particularly missing the mark sort of person and therefore I'm going to come down on you because it might distract me from my own sin and wickedness is, it's a non-starter. So I understand that revulsion, and I've had it myself. I spent the first, from the age of about 15 until my conversion in my late 20s, with a loathing for the Christian church, which it's very hard to exaggerate. Absolute loathing. And it's because people who were dressed in the Christian church had made me feel like dirt when I was younger. Now, as I got older, I understood that some of them were trying to do their best and they just didn't know any better. And some of them were fighting against things in themselves that terrified themselves. And I came to feel pity for them. Well, this church here, this little church in Cathedral City, is not gay affirming. It is gay. There are straight people here. There are people from a wide variety of different backgrounds. But, I'm the pastor. And I am who I am. And I've never been ashamed of who I am. And consequently, if you come here, then you're not just going to be affirmed, you'll just see yourself here. And which is why I've never really felt the need to drape it in flags. You can't walk into this church and be under any illusions that there aren't a whole bunch of gay folk in here. And they seem perfectly well adjusted with themselves. And it goes back to that early vision of Reverend Troy Perry, who founded Metropolitan Community Churches. And that vision was that this is a proper church for everybody. A proper church for everybody. And if you're really doing that, you don't have to be self-conscious about it. You don't have to use words constantly. I mean, the fact that the pastor is as gay as a Queen of May in springtime should give you a bit of a clue that you're going to be welcomed here. How can I put it? I can't put it any clearer than that you'll come in, you'll see people who are gay and who are straight, who are male and female, old and slightly younger. You'll also see people who are rich, poor, able-bodied, disabled, trans, non-trans. We are a genuinely diverse group of people. And I really do mean diverse, because I also include diversity of outlook. So you don't have to be of one political outlook in order to come here. You can be whatever. You can be ultra progressive. You can be a Marxist if you like, or you can be slightly to the right of Attila the Hun. But either way, we're in the business of making relationships with one another. And if we're really going to try and do that, then you've got to do better than just choosing one side and lobbing ammunition over the trenches. So I know this is a bit rambling, but I'm saying this because we are still, we're All Souls Church here, because I felt that All Souls is about as clear a way as you can say, as you want to include everybody. But we're also a metropolitan community church. Now, what does that mean? It means that we try to be true to Reverend Troy Perry's vision, and that back in the late 1960s, we were performing same-sex marriages when all the mainline churches that now drape themselves in the rainbow flag were saying that we were wicked sinners condemned to perdition. In 1971, Reverend Troy Perry sued the state of California to recognize the marriages we were performing, and we've been at the forefront of the recognition of our full rights ever since. So, come on. We are the original and best. And also, if you like high churchery, then it's high churchery. I mean, the real deal. And if you don't, well, we have Southern Baptist sing-songs at the beginning of, not Southern Baptist, what am I saying? Southern Gospel sing-songs at the beginning of most of our services. We have a wide variety of music. We have a Pentecostal pianist on the Steinway Grand there. We have a Seventh-day Adventist organist and music director. We have a variety of music from extremely well-known and well-loved hymns to more modern stuff and to classical music. So do come along and investigate. And if you want to know more, and I haven't answered all your questions, and you think I'm just a closet homophobe and I'm going to be ready to denounce you as soon as you walk across the door, then get in touch. And you can get in touch by messaging the church, and it'll come straight to me. All right. God bless. Bye-bye.